Come on into the conversation. I am multicasting on several platforms, so you might be watching on YouTube or Facebook Live or LinkedIn or even on Twitter, on whatever channel platform you're watching. We want to welcome you to the conversation. Come on in. And if you are new to the conversation, thanks for stopping through in this new year. Happy New Year to you. Happy 2023. I know you're going to hear something, see something that you want to like and share. Please do that and then subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. And if you are one of the returning subscribers, thanks for your support. And I'm looking forward to spending time with you in the new year. So here's what we're talking about today. When you are in a public place, whether you're going for shopping or eating out at a restaurant or you're using public transportation, most people are used to being videotaped. You're used to the presence of security cameras. And those people who manage those public spaces, they're quick to say that the security video and the recordings are due to security reasons, that your every move is being documented to keep you safe as well as other people. And so there's probably some validity to that. When I left the United States earlier today, headed to Toronto, Canada, the airport gate agent informed everybody who was planning to fly that facial recognition software, in addition to your passport, would be used to identify passengers. Because when you travel from one country to another and you have to pass through customs and immigration, people in charge of that country and the entry points, they want to make sure of what's going on and who's coming into their country. So many of them have started to use facial recognition software. But now some of the people who are using their access to this technology, they're using it as a weapon to villainize people. So that's what we're going to talk about today and how you feel about that. And if you are, you want to get in on the chat, I'm going to put in the link so that you can stop in if you want, or if you just want to work with your fingers and comment, you can do that. But I just put in the chat the link so that you can come in and talk to me about it. So here's what's going on. Have you been to a public arena for a sports event or even a concert? I know I've been thinking about going to a few concerts this year. Do you plan to do that in 2023? Do your children always want to go see the latest movie? They want to see that latest animation, and you end up taking them to a movie or to some type of show. Do you frequent social clubs? Do you go to a gym on a regular basis to work out? If so, listen up, because this could happen to you. A personal injury attorney who had plans to chaperone her daughter and her daughter's Girl Scout troop to Madison Square Garden to see the Rockettes during the 2022 holiday season. She was barred from attending the show by security guards at the entrance to Madison Square Garden. Now, she wasn't barred for inappropriate dress or inappropriate behavior. She wasn't barred because she tried to enter with a weapon. She was barred because of her face. She was barred from entering Madison Square Garden because of the information that was revealed about her through facial recognition software. You see, this attorney represented, and probably still does represent, a company that had filed a lawsuit against the owners of Madison Square Garden Entertainment. That's the Dolan family. They're worth billions of dollars, about $4 billion. And in addition to Madison Square Garden, the Dolan family owns the New York Knicks, They own the New York Rangers. They own Radio City Music Hall, Beacon Theater in New York City, Chicago Theater in Chi-Town, and they're building venues in Vegas and London. They also own buildings that house restaurants and other public spaces. So if an individual organization, if an individual or an organization files a lawsuit against these venues, probably they're going to be subject to facial recognition technology used to check every person who wants to gain access to the event that's held at that venue. And if your work or your affiliations are considered to be adversarial to the Dolan family or their properties, you too could be barred from going into that public space. How do you feel about that? That's the question that we're asking today. If you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. So James Dolan is the CEO of Madison Square Garden Entertainment, and he used his access to facial recognition software to create a file of everybody that was affiliated with the company that filed the lawsuit against his company, against Madison Square Garden. I don't know the details of the lawsuit, but he essentially, if you filed a lawsuit, then your information is going into this facial recognition software. And so when you come to the doors, we're going to have something to say, and we're not going to allow you in. That's exactly what he did. And they used that electronic file to block this attorney who's a mom who was trying to chaperone her daughter and the Girl Scout troop to go see the Rockettes a couple of months ago. Okay, so how do you feel about facial recognition technology? We'll look at that and I'll tell you how I feel about it right after this message. Now, this message is brought to you by TCB Drones, and TCB Drones is sponsoring a promotion in starting January 2nd. It's called Name That Skyline Video Drone Challenge. Now, I know based on how old you are, you might remember Name That Tune. It was a TV show, and you had to you heard 10 seconds of a song, and then you had to guess it, name that tune. This is kind of like Name That Skyline. If you can look at 10 seconds of video and tell where it is in the North America, then you're the first to guess it by emailing the answer, you can win some stuff. So go to bestdronevideo.com/promo to find out more. But we're getting back to the subject. I'm Steffanie Rivers. This is my video version, and we're talking about facial recognition software being used against people. Okay, so I don't know if you have gone to the movies lately or gone to a restaurant or gone to a football or basketball game, or you might have taken your kids to see a movie, but these are venues where facial recognition, your face could get you booted, your face could get you detained. And that's what happened to this mom. She was and is an attorney, and she was representing her client, and because of that, she was unable to go into Madison Square Garden. So what do you think about that? Does the owner have the right to use that facial recognition to do that? to keep people from entering. It's a public space, even if it's privately owned, it's being used for public events. Now, the issue for me becomes, who is in charge of that technology? Who has access to the technology? What was the initial understanding of how the technology was going to be used, and when was it initiated? And how, when it was initiated, how was it express that this is how we're going to use this? Because 9 times out of 10 they said, well, we're going to use this to keep, if we have criminals trying to come in. I don't know how they exactly said it, but I'm sure it wasn't, they didn't say, if you file a lawsuit against us, then we're going to keep you from coming in and chaperoning your child while they're at the event. I'm sure they didn't say that. So in this particular case, this woman who is an attorney, was who takes, that's her job, to take on clients. It's her job to represent her client, and that's what she did. And so they essentially use that against her, and I think that's unethical for them to do that. It's everybody's right to file a lawsuit if they feel that they have a claim. Now, even if you don't agree with the lawsuit, I don't agree with the lawsuit, and obviously the person you're filing the lawsuit against probably does not agree with the lawsuit, but it's that person's right to file the lawsuit. So for this company to use their access to facial recognition to punish the attorney, I think is unethical. Not to mention, if she paid in advance for the tickets, okay? She paid probably because it was the Girl Scout troop. Somebody paid in advance for the tickets. They just don't have, Girl Scout troops showing up and now y'all standing in line, or maybe they do. Maybe that's what they do in New York. My point is, she didn't expect this to happen because of her position as an attorney. And who else would know that except an attorney? So she's a mom trying to chaperone her daughter and a whole bunch of other little Girl Scouts to a show. And this is what happens. She ended up not getting in, the mother, the attorney, the chaperone. I don't know if she was the only chaperone and they just went up in there by themselves, but instead of turning everybody else around, she decided to just walk around, go to Starbucks, do something else for like 2, 3, 5 hours, however long the Rockettes perform. And then I'll meet you at this exit right here, be right here. So that ended up being what had to happen. So not getting to see the Rockettes, that's one thing. But here's what I think is the bigger picture. What if someone has a warrant for their arrest? Will they get arrested on the spot? What about when facial recognition software gets it wrong, as it has been known to do? Because that's the reason it was supposed to be rolled out slowly, or because that's the reason it was supposed to be scrapped altogether, and they were going to work on doing something else. Because when it came to people with darker skin tones, the software can't pick up your facial distinctions as good as it can with somebody who has a lighter skin tone. And facial recognition software was making mistakes on people, getting the wrong people arrested, and the wrong people having to go through clearing their name, because the computer said that you are the person who robbed this grocery store, and you look like the person who was on this video, and it turns out to be not the person. So what happens when facial recognition software gets it wrong, and people who for through no fault of their own are not being detected in the most accurate way by that software? What about those people? What else is facial recognition software being used for? What if you post a negative review for the restaurant that you went to? What if you had an issue with somebody at Madison Square Garden, a referee or somebody in the restroom, and you talked about it on social media? They gonna ban you from coming? What if you had a bad Airbnb experience and you want to warn other people about not using this particular person? Are you going to get banned in the future? So, like, where does this end? That's the question that I have. What if you are leaning politically one way or another, and the person in charge of that facial recognition doesn't like that you lean that way or the other way, and now they're going to hold you accountable by not allowing you to exercise your rights to free speech, your First Amendment rights. So those are the issues that come up for me. So I don't know how this attorney plans to handle it, whether she's going to file her own lawsuit against Madison Square Garden and the Dolan family. But these are the things that we should be thinking about, and not just, oh, well, it was just a Rockettes um, show and it's no big deal, because that's the way things start. They start off as little tiny no big deals, and then before you know it, you're in handcuffs for something that you didn't have nothing to do with, and now you want people to care when you should have cared a long time ago. So that's why we're here today. We already talked about on my video journal the need for us to stop posting every little thing we do on social media, every place we eat, where we going, what our plans are, all of that, because we already know that law enforcement uses social media as a way to track suspects as well as other people who might not be suspects, but for whatever reason is on their radar. And so try to keep your privacy when you can. And sure, everybody wants to show that you had a good time on vacation or whatever, but just be wary that when you do that, you're opening yourself up to more pictures of you, and possibly somebody trying to, if they want to know where you are or where you're not, like, she ain't at home right now, so I could break in. Those things could be happening as well. So that's my what I want to share with you. So how can we fight facial recognition software? Because my face is my face. I mean, you could say, well, I can wear a hat or I can wear glasses, but when you go through those types of entryways, or if you've been to the airport lately, or you've been through customs and immigration, um, they want you to remove your hat and eyeglasses and all that, so they can see your eye color, so they can see your head and your face and your lips and all of that. So they ask you to remove all that. So this could become a form of emotional duress against my First Amendment rights if every time before I post something, or before I give my true feelings about how that bolognese spaghetti really tasted, I might think, oh, if I tell how I really feel, then I might not be able to come in here next time and try something new. I might not get the bolognese spaghetti. I might get something else next time. Can I just try something else? I had to be banned forever. So, it just is a way of police state in us, in my opinion, trying to fear us, scare us into acquiescing or to backing down. And that's just not a good thing. So before you head out for your next date night, or you think you're about to take your kids to see the latest animated movie, remember that your face might be used against you. And this whole time, I didn't even use my CG denied entry because of her face. So that was what we're talking about. Before you allow your face to deny you entry into somewhere, you need to look more into this facial recognition software to see what's really going on. Because the next thing you know, they might try to read my mind, and you don't want to know what's going on in my mind. That would cause people to take a second look at Steffanie. Because we all think things that we don't say because we know it's inappropriate. So, but there have been movies and media don't seem to be far from reality in most things where people are thinking. And there have been lots of movies where people were created this technology where they can read your mind, or where your thoughts are stored and then they can go back and look at it. And so I'm pretty sure that is not too far from reality. And even though I want to live a long, long, long time, I don't want to be here when somebody can read my mind, because that would be a sad day for y'all. Okay. To find out more about the things that I care about, go to the written version of my journal. That's at eurweb.com.